In 1954, there was a psychic named Dorothy Martin who lived outside of Chicago. One morning, she woke up and started writing a message, and she realized it was from Sananda, living on the planet Clarion. Now, Sananda was Jesus, and Jesus and the other aliens or guardians told Dorothy to gather a group of followers, the Seekers, and hear their prophecies. And then one day in August, Dorothy got a message that the world was going to be destroyed on December 21st in a global flood, earthquake, tsunami, but that Jesus and the other aliens were going to rescue them in their flying saucer. The prophecy got picked up in a local newspaper, and Leon Festinger, a psychologist, was reading his morning paper, and he saw this prediction and thought, I wonder what will happen on December 22nd when the world didn't end. Many of the Seekers moved in with Dorothy. They lost their jobs, gave away their possessions. Some of them lost custody of their kids. I mean, the world was going to end. They didn't need money. Now, the end of the world was December 21st, but they were told they could be rescued at any moment. They were also told that any metal would interfere with the aliens' spacecraft, so they needed to remove glasses and fillings and zippers and so on. On December 17th, they got a phone call from Captain Video that the Guardians were going to rescue the Seekers that day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Dorothy's backyard. So they went out, they removed all metal, they prepared, and by 5:30, there was no aliens. Dorothy then received a message that had been a practice session. They did not seem to notice that Captain Video from Outer Space was a popular TV show at the time, and they had gotten pranked. There were a couple of other false starts, but they were told that they were practice sessions. Finally, December 21st. For a while, they sang Christmas carols, and then they sat in silence, waiting for their ordeal to finally be over. What do you think's going to happen? Are they going to change their minds? Okay, before I tell you what happened, have you ever watched somebody be confronted with absolute evidence that they're wrong and then have them not change their mind? At 12 o'clock, there were no aliens. Somebody noticed that the clock was wrong, and they still had 5 extra minutes. Then 5 minutes later, Dorothy announced that there was going to be a slight delay in plans. At 2:30 in the morning, Dorothy got a message that they should take a coffee break. At 4 o'clock in the morning, stunned silent. At 4:45, Dorothy got a message. Because of the Seekers' dedication, God called off the end of the world. Not only had they been right, they had been so right that they saved the entire planet and everybody on it. Thank you very much. The Seekers couldn't afford to admit that they had been wrong, and so they found a way to deceive themselves. I think about the Seekers a lot when I see someone who, in the face of all evidence to the contrary, refuses to change their minds. Their aliens stood them up, but they can't afford to admit it.